Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Dr. Noah St. John. He is recognized as the father of affirmations and the mental health coach to the stars, working with Hollywood celebrities, 7 and 8 figure companies and CEOs, professional athletes, top executive, and elite entrepreneurs. He is famous for helping his coaching clients make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while regaining 1 to 3 hours per day in the 4 to 8 weeks a year. That's amazing. Who doesn't want that? He has helped his clients generate 2.8 billion over and above what they were earning with greater ease than ever before. Thank you so much for being on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I am excited that you're here.
Great to be here.
I know that we're going to be talking about your newest book. He does have over 20 books out, and
hmm
today we're going to be focusing on the 7 figure life, how to leverage the 4 focus factors for more wealth and happiness. Can you maybe just talk a little bit about what this book is all about and how it has transformed people's lives?
Absolutely. So yeah, the book is this is the new one called The 7-Figure Life, and the subtitle is How to Leverage the 4 Focus Factors for More Wealth and Happiness. And so this is really what I've been teaching my clients for over 25 years now. As you mentioned, I've worked with lots and lots of different people,
Yeah.
thousands of case studies. If you go to our website, you'll see just thousands of case studies of people that I've helped to add multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, and even 8 figures. But more importantly, as great as the money is, right? We all want more money. Who doesn't want that? But it really is about winning your life back.
Yeah.
And that's why, when I say the 7-figure life, a lot of people assume, oh, he only talks about money. And I'm like, well, money's important. I mean, look, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, so I know what it's like to not have money, and there's nothing good about it. It sucks, there's nothing good about poverty. And so, yeah, money is definitely part of it, but more importantly is really having that health and the happiness and the fulfillment. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people who have a lot of money and they're still unhappy. So that's not what we want. And so that's what really the book is about. And that's what I've been teaching my clients, both one-on-one and group coaching for many, many years now. So that's what the book's about.
Well, that's awesome. So, your journey from being a professional ballet dancer to
Mm-hmm.
becoming a respected guide in successful entrepreneurship is quite unique. Can
Mm-hmm.
you share more about the turning point that led you to explore the concept of success anorexia and how it became a catalyst for your path in coaching and mentoring?
Yes. Now that's a very deep question there. So I'll try to get it as succinct as possible. As I mentioned, I grew up poor in a rich
Yeah.
neighborhood, but I also, when I was born, I had deformed my legs, and my hips were not really formed properly. So I had to wear leg braces, kind of like Forrest Gump, if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
That was like me. I had to do that for a while when I was little, and then when I was about 7 years old, my pediatrician said to my parents that I should take dance lessons to strengthen, my legs and things like that. So I actually started taking tap dancing lessons with there in my local town.
Mhm.
And then I started taking ballet lessons when I was 15, and I became a professional ballet dancer at age 18. And so I was, I'm actually I'm the only person in this industry who made a living lifting ballerinas. Nobody else can claim that. Anyway, so unfortunately, I had a career-ending injury at the age of 22. So it was a very short career.
Yeah.
My body was not built for ballet, and most human bodies are not, by the way. But anyway, so at the age of 22, I was basically, literally out on the street, and I had no money and no real education and no connections. And so I was like, what the heck am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so I just got a series of survival jobs, and that's all they were. I was just surviving, but barely. And then fast forward many years later, when I was 30 years old, I skipped over one part there. At the age of 25, because I was so depressed, and all of those things had happened. At the age of 25, I actually decided to commit suicide. I decided to take my own life because I really didn't want to be here anymore
Oh
on
my
this
goodness.
planet. And at the very last moment, my life was spared. I didn't know why at the time, but I realized that I've got to find what is my purpose here on the earth. My career was taken from me, and I don't have any money, I don't have any connections, I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. So I've got to find what is my purpose here. So
Right.
I went to the library, read lots of books on spirituality, and trying to how to find your purpose, how to find your life's
Right.
purpose. So fast forward 5 years after that, and that's when I discovered my life's purpose. When I discovered in 1997 these distinctions that no one was talking about in the personal development industry. And I'm still known for those things that I've been teaching for over 26 years now. And one of those was what I discovered, the phenomenon that I call success anorexia. Success anorexia is really the condition that I discovered and have written all these books about now, over 20 books later, that causes so many smart, creative, talented, hardworking people who are very evolved, people who've studied lots of things, gone to all the seminars and all the gurus, and yet they're still stuck. They're still hitting what I call an income ceiling, right? They just keep hitting their head on that ceiling, and no matter how many seminars they go to, they still can't break through it. So I discovered what was actually the missing piece. And as a result of that, and my books and my coaching and my online courses, as you mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons my clients have added over $2.8 billion,
Right.
6, 7, 8 figures in many, many, many cases. So really, the people who come to me and the people who hire me to coach them, whether one-on-one or group coaching, are those people, the people who've gone to all the seminars and tried everything. And it's like, how come I'm still not getting the results that I want? I'll give you a quick example. I was coaching one of my clients. We have a program called the 12-week breakthrough, which, as you mentioned earlier, I'm known for helping people make more than 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back. So one woman, her name's Tamisa, she's an entrepreneur in Arizona. And she was a self-proclaimed seminar junkie. She'd gone to all the seminars and just, that was her term, because she'd done so many things, spent a lot of time, money, and effort. And she was doing well. I mean, she was doing 6 figures in her business, but she just couldn't break through that ceiling. And so she joined my 12-week breakthrough. And in the first 2 weeks, she tripled her investment. She tripled in 2 weeks. And that was, we hadn't even gotten to the money part yet. So it was pretty amazing. That was really just as a result of her, learning the things that I've been teaching for over 25 years now, of why people keep hitting that income ceiling. And then finally, like I said, the missing piece and how to break through.
That is amazing. So in your book, I know we're talking about it, The 7-Figure Life, you emphasize the importance of leveraging the 4 focus factors: time, energy, relationships, and money. Can you provide some insights on how entrepreneurs can effectively harness these factors to enhance their personal and business success?
Absolutely. So, as an executive coach, a business coach, and a mental health coach, I'm also a keynote speaker. So I also get to do keynote presentations, whether live or virtual, all around the country and around the world, for small groups, all the way up to, thousands and thousands of people at big events. And so one of the things I like to do at my keynote in my keynote presentations is I like to use this as an example and an exercise, all right, to show you how these 4 focus factors work in your life. So I say to my audience members, all right, so I want to play a little game here, and I want you to imagine that I'm going to give you $1 million right now. And everybody goes, wow, that sounds great. I'm like, yeah, it sounds great, right? And I say, but there's just one catch. And they go, well, all right, well, what's the catch? I say, well, I'm going to give you $1 million, but you have no time at all. You have no time to enjoy it. You don't get to spend any time doing the things that you really enjoy, no time with family and friends. And just, you have way too much to do and too little time. You just don't have any time whatsoever. Right? Sound like a good deal? And they're like, well, not really. That's not a great deal. I say, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you $1 million, but you have to be sad, angry, miserable, and depressed all the time. Sound good? No, that doesn't sound that great, right?
No.
And then I say, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1 million, but you have no relationships, right? You have no family, no friends, right? You don't have anybody that you can enjoy it with, right? And you're just all by yourself and like living in a hermit out in the woods somewhere, right? Sound good? And no, none of that sounds any good, right? So that's the example that I like to give to people and show them, in a fun way, to show that, and that's why, going back to the point of the 7-figure life, yes, money is important, but it's only one of the 4 focus factors. And that's how I show you that the 4 focus factors are time, energy, relationships, and money. And if you don't have an abundance of those, or if you don't feel fulfilled in those 4 areas, you're really not living a happy, healthy life, right? And that's what I was saying earlier, is that, there's lots of miserable millionaires out there. And that's not what we want to be, right? I mean, sure, we want money, but gosh, we want all those other things. We want to have the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money, so that we're really living a happy, fulfilled life.
No, absolutely. I think some of us get so locked into, I want to be a multi-millionaire, but then, like
Right.
you said, you don't have the relationship, you don't have the health, you don't have
Mhm.
the energy to really truly
Right.
live a beautiful, successful life. And I love the fact that you're like, no, you've got to leverage these four things in
Mhm.
order to have a life of grace, ease, flow. And that's what you're really tapping
Yeah.
into.
That's right. And it's funny because I remember years ago when I came up with that, I call that my freedom lifestyle formula, the time,
Mm,
energy, relationships, and money, because I've been coaching people on this for many, many years and helping them make a lot of
right.
money and win their lives back. And so I was meditating one morning and I said, well, just show me, what does it really look like? Like, what is it? What is a happy life? What is a fulfilled life? And that's when that freedom lifestyle formula came to me,
Mm,
with those four focus factors of time, energy, relationships, and money. And when I explain it to people, everybody gets it. They instantly get it. And they go, oh my gosh, that is so true, Noah. That is exactly what I want in my life. And then you can also see like what's missing, right? Like if
right.
you're feeling stuck in one area of your life, and this is one of the ways that I help people, in my coaching, whether it's one-on-one or group
Hmm.
coaching, to really, if they're feeling stuck or they're feeling, struggling in one of these areas, or more of these areas, which is most common, as most people are struggling in one or more areas. That's where we can really focus in and really put these things in place so that you can have more of the things that you really want.
Right. And I know that you mentioned before that how people hit that ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a money ceiling, a
Mm-hmm.
relationship ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
and you're helping them to blow that ceiling up
Mm-hmm.
and like to show them, like, no. Do you find that you have people that don't realize how beautiful their life can be because they're stuck in this almost this hamster wheel of life? Do you find that when your clients are first coming to you, you're like, well, let me just take this blinders off of you?
Well, everybody's gone through trauma. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's gone through pain. Everybody's gone through hard times. I mean, there's just not many people you're going to meet that don't have those things. That we've all faced tough times.
Right.
Again, I decided to commit suicide at age
Right.
25, and that it doesn't get much worse than that. I mean, you don't get much lower self-esteem than I think I'm going to, or not, I mean, I decided to do it. I
Right.
went
You
to
had a
do it.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I know what it's like, and I can relate when people come to me with different situations.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. There was another entrepreneur that I was coaching in my 12-week breakthrough program. Her name's Catherine. She's an entrepreneur in Pennsylvania. And when she joined the program, she was in a very dark place. That's her words, not mine. She said she was in a real dark place. She
Right.
tried lots of things, but was really not not seeing the results that she wanted. She was working real hard. And so in week 5 of the 12-week breakthrough, I got an email from her, and she was really doing well. She was doing her assignments. She was handing them in on time, because I give assignments. It's not just talking and saying, hey, how's your dog? It's like, no, there's specific
Gotta
things we
work.
want to do
Yeah.
and put in place. That's why I love working with action takers, people who really like taking action and getting great,
Hmm.
amazing results. So in week 5 of the program, she sent me an email and she said, guess what, Noah? I just raised $185,000 in one day because of what you taught me. $185,000 in one day. And she said, and I finally believe in me. And if we would have taken a picture of her, on day one versus, week 12,
Yeah.
it was night and day. And it was just an amazing transformation for her. And of course, again, money is a way to measure that.
Right.
And so that's what's interesting about this this program and what I do in my coaching is
Hmm.
because money is easy to measure, right? It's like, well, I was making X and now I'm making Y, right? So
Right.
it's very easy to point to that and
Hmm.
point to
Hmm.
that, right? And say, gosh, I tripled, I quadrupled, I increased 800% and so on, which we have examples of all of that
Right.
and many more. And so it's just a little harder to say, well, now I'm 3 times happier than I was before, because it's a little tricky to put your happiness or even your level of fulfillment on a scale. And
Right.
that's another reason why my freedom lifestyle formula is a really, really helpful formula, because you can just every day you can literally see, how am I doing in my use of time? How am I doing in my energy? How am I
Hmm.
doing, or how am I feeling in my relationships, and how am I doing in my money? And then you can literally just do that on a daily basis and just check in with yourself and say, gosh, you know what? Maybe I need some help in one or more of these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So, permission to succeed is a concept you've introduced. Can you elaborate on what this means and why it's crucial for individuals seeking success and even their entrepreneurial or maybe even their personal endeavors?
Well, Permission to Succeed was the title of my very first book, which was published by the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher back in 1999.
Wow,
And
that's a long
so
time ago.
long time ago. Yeah, that was book number one. Now we're on book 22 or 24. But yeah, so that was really the essence of my discovery back then. And again, this is what I've been teaching for over 25 years now. And so, I often say to people, I say, look, there's really only two reasons why you're not getting the results that you want in life. There's only two. And people say, well, really? I thought there was like 1,000 reasons. No, there's only two reasons that you're not getting the results you want in your life. Number one is you really don't have a proven blueprint to reach your desires, right? Your goals, your what your dreams. What you want? You just don't have a blueprint, a plan of action so that you can actually achieve that.
Right.
Or number two, you're unconsciously holding yourself back from the success you're perfectly capable of.
Right.
And what I always tell people is I fixed both of those things 25 years ago. I fixed all of this 25 years ago. And so the point is that when you look at giving yourself permission to succeed, that was what I discovered back then and have been teaching for all these years, is that most people have spent a lot of time, money, and effort on the how-tos of success, how to succeed, how to make money, how to have an online business, how to do this, how to do that. And if you go on YouTube, there's 10 million, billion, kajillion how-to videos, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with how to. If you want to do something, it's helpful to know how to do it. But here's the essential problem that no one else was talking about. And that is that you can know all the how-tos in the world. But if you're unconsciously holding yourself back from the success you're capable of, you can have all the how-tos in the world and you're still not going to let yourself succeed. And so the analogy that I use is that imagine if you have someone who has anorexia, right? Which is a very real, very serious physical condition that millions of people are suffering from, right? Now imagine if you had that person there who has anorexia and you say to them, well, listen, here's how to eat. You put your fork in the food and then you put the food in your mouth and you chew and swallow. All right. So that's how to eat. Now go ahead and do it. Do you really think that's going to help them? And of course, it's ridiculous, right? It sounds insane because that's what it is. It's insane. Well, what I realize is it is exactly the same with success. And I was the first person to realize that, hence I'm the person that wrote the book on the subject and many more books. And so the point is I realized that there is a condition that I discovered that I named success anorexia. Success anorexia is in fact the starvation of success. Tens of millions of people all around the world through no fault of their own are unwittingly, unconsciously holding themselves back from the level of success they're perfectly capable of. And that's point number one. And point number two is the only information that has been available out there and what the gurus are still teaching is how to succeed. You don't have a how to succeed problem. You have a how to let yourself succeed problem. Right. That's what I fixed 26 years ago. And so, like Tamisa, like Catherine, I'll give you another great example. Sheila is another entrepreneur that I was working with out in California. I was coaching her. She was making about $5,000 a month in sales. Now, $5,000 a month, that's pretty good, right? Not bad. But she had spent tens of thousands of dollars in years trying to, break through that income ceiling. She just couldn't do it. After 8 weeks of coaching with me, in less than 6 months, she started making $75,000 a month. A month, not a year. So she literally increased her income by 15%. I'm sorry, 1,500%, 15 times, 15x.
Yeah.
That's a 15x, right? Not 10x, 15x. So 1,500% increase in less than 6 months. And what's amazing about that is, and when you go to our website, you can see her and many, many other case studies. One of the things that I love, she said, one of my favorite client quotes of all time, she said, "Thank you, Noah, for taking the lid off my thinking and letting me know that I could have the best." And isn't that true? So many times we have a lid on our thinking and we're going around like this saying, oh, this is all I can have. This is all I can have. Okay, well, if that's all you think you can have, that's all you're going to get. Right. Absolutely. So when I took the lid off her thinking, she's like, holy cow, I can have all this. And what's also even amazing about that is not only did she increase her income by 15 times, she told me, she says, no, and now I have more time when I'm here making $75,000 a month than I did when I was making $5,000 a month. I have more money and more time. Hello, you're welcome.
Well, the reason why I bring that up, that permission to succeed, is like you said, so many people have these limiting beliefs of they have a fear of success. a fear of not being enough, a
Yep.
fear of not being
Hmm.
worthy of love. And
That's right.
for my listeners who are, in the spiritual realm, like
Hmm.
that's why I bring it up. You're like, no, give yourself permission to succeed.
Hmm.
Give yourself permission to blow that lid up, And I think
That's
that's
what I fixed 26 years ago.
26
So
years
yeah, I
ago.
fixed all
You're like,
this
listen,
a
the
long
proof
time
is in
ago.
the pudding. Like,
Yeah.
I have hundreds of thousands of case studies that can truly tap
Yeah.
into that. And you have, like you said, over 22 books that are going
Yep.
to, and you don't have to be spiritual. You can just be somebody who, like you said, you were in the dark well, you
Hmm.
were 25 years old, and you did not want to be here anymore. And you had a plan,
Yep.
to exit from this
Yes.
current reality.
Yes.
In that moment, I know that you decided, like, I need to find my purpose. What shifted in that moment of, I have a plan to, no, this isn't for me, and I know God wants me to do something different, like, or whatever your higher power is?
Hmm. Well, when, back then it was 1992,
Mm-hmm.
and I had just faced a series of rejections, and I was really broke. I had no money. My
Right.
girlfriend had just left me. It was like a country song, but it was true. I mean, that really happened to me. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I looked at the next 40 years of my life and I said, is this it? And I said, I don't want to be here. I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember reading that or hearing somewhere that if you put your car in a garage and turn the key on and you let the car run,
Yeah.
then you would die of asphyxiation. And I said, well, actually, that sounds good because, I don't have a gun. I don't have a knife or something. I don't want to get blood everywhere. And so I said, well, let's do that because basically you fall asleep and don't wake up. So I was
Right.
like, okay. There was just one problem. I was living in this little apartment building in North Hollywood, California, and I didn't have a garage. So all we had was open auto bays in this apartment building. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. So I literally got in my car, drove around looking for an open garage. And
Mm-hmm.
as fate would have it, I found one. Amazingly, I literally found a garage that I could just pull my car in and shut the door behind me. And that would be that.
Oh my goodness.
And then there was the thing that I saw that saved my life. And as I was about to pull my car in and end my life, I saw in the corner of a garage a child's bicycle. And I knew it was a child's bicycle because it had those white handlebar, things on the end
Yeah.
of the handlebars, those white little things. And I had this bike similar to that when I was a kid. So I knew it was a little kid's bike. And when I saw that, an image flashed through my mind, and I saw this family, a husband and a wife and a child, and they came home and found, my car with my dead body in it. And I literally, saw this family, and they were, crying and so upset, and the kid was confused, and seeing the parents. And I saw that flash through my mind, and I said, Noah, you can't do this to them. You cannot do this to that family.
Yeah.
And no matter who they are, and of course I have no idea who they are, and I'll never know who they are, um, but I saw them in my mind, and I said, you can't do this. That is not fair to these people. They don't deserve this. And that's when I drove away, and I said, okay, I'm not going to do this. So that's when I said, that's when I realized I've got to find my purpose. I can't go through life like this anymore. And
Right.
that's why I went to the library and I just read, this
Yeah.
was before the internet. So I went to the library, I went to the spiritual section. I read every book in the spiritual section,
Wow.
Deepak Chopra and Marianne
Yeah.
Williamson, Louise Hay and
Right.
Ernest Holmes and, Neil Donald Walsh and you just all of those spiritual thinkers. And that's really what helped to guide me to what was then my discoveries in 1997. And yeah, and again, all the work that I've been doing for the past
Right.
26 years now and
And
helping a lot of people.
like you said, you've unlocked it. You have
Mm-hmm.
20 plus years of
Mm-hmm.
case studies of proving to people, like,
Mm-hmm.
look, read this, do this
Mm-hmm.
to some, and
Mm-hmm.
your life is going to be
Mm-hmm.
1,000,000% better.
I just want to point out
Of
something
course.
too when you said that, just to jump off what you said.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm very passionate about is talking about and teaching the difference between personality driven success and
Mm,
system driven success. Now, when you look at the gurus in this personal development space, they're doing and practicing what I call personality driven success. What that means is exactly what it sounds like. It's driven by their personality.
right.
And their main or only success story is themselves, right? Hey, look at me, look how cool I am, look how much money I've got, look at my helicopter, look at my plane, aren't I amazing? And it's like, well, yeah, you're amazing, but have you
But,
helped anybody else? you
right.
know and it's like, well, not so much. And so the point is, what I do that's different is system-driven success. And what that
Right.
means is anybody can do it, right? If it's a system, and that's exactly what it is, it's fill in the blank, paint by numbers and plug and play, and anybody can do it. And
Right.
you know, that's why you'll notice that I would rather brag about my client success than my success. I mean, sure,
Right.
I've done well, I've made millions, I've lost millions, but that doesn't matter. What matters is it a system that anybody can just plug into their lives and get results? And that's exactly what it is.
And to be quite transparent, as somebody, I know that you said that you're reading a ton of books and this and that, and I've taken tons of courses and I have tons
Right.
of certifications and
Mhm.
modalities and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I just want a system. I want you to tell me, Rachel, if you do A, B, and C, you're going to get to X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like, lay
Oh,
it
that's
out.
what I fixed 25 years ago. So come
Lay
on
it
in.
out. I'm like, so tell me,
Come
because
on down.
I am, because I'm super excited. For anyone that is interested in getting your book, The 7-Figure Life, where can I go and get it?
Yeah, absolutely. So very easy to remember. So here's the book again. So it's called The 7-Figure Life,
Yeah.
How to Leverage the 4 Focus Factors that we talked about for more wealth and happiness. So it's very easy to remember. So it's 7figurelifebook.com. Very
Oh,
easy. So
easy.
number 7, 7figurelifebook.com. And because you're listening to this program right now, when you go to 7figurelifebook.com and order the book, I'll also give you $299 worth of free bonus gifts when you order the book at
Wow.
7figurelifebook.com. And by the way, when you go to Amazon, you'll see lots and lots, I mean, literally hundreds of 5-star reviews. And, I have lots of awesome readers all around the world.
Yeah.
And when you read those 5-star reviews, you'll see that, many of them say, I've read many of Noah's books and he just keeps getting better. And that is so nice to hear and nice to see those, because
Yeah.
I'm very passionate and very, very it's very important to me to not just repeat and regurgitate other things, or even things that I've said before, let alone what other people say. And that's the other thing in this industry. We just see a lot of regurgitation and just rehashing of the same things that everybody said a million times, which I hate. I can't stand that. And so I have always said that I'm going to be different. I'm going to be
Yeah.
different. And that's exactly what my work is. It's different. And that's why people get results very quickly.
I think that is a beautiful thing. You also have two websites,
Mhm.
breakthroughwithnoah.com and noahstjohn.com, for
Mhm.
anyone that wants to maybe continue working with you and
Mhm.
maybe tap into these programs that you've mentioned before.
Yes, indeed. So, excuse me. So,
Go ahead.
breakthroughwithnoah.com. That's where you can book a breakthrough consultation
Sure.
with me or one of my coaches. Very easy to remember, breakthroughwithnoah.com. And I'm known as the breakthrough coach because I help people break through their limiting beliefs
Yeah.
and break through their income ceiling very, very quickly. So that's breakthroughwithnoah.com,
Awesome.
and Noah St. John, that's my name. And that's our main website. That's our hub. And you can see
Yeah.
all our different programs and courses and things like that as well.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I am super excited. You can tell Rachel wants to break through with
Yeah.
Noah
Yeah.
immediately after this.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I want to say thank you again.
My pleasure.